Welcome back to the Suburban Ford 7 Sports Cave. The Fast 5 Minutes brought to you by Parts Galore. Don't forget Rick Porcello will join us live from Comerica Park in just a bit. Looking forward to that conversation. But for now, we'll handle these topics. And we've got 5 good ones for you. Last night, I always loved the NFL Pro Football Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Great speeches, but it raises the question, what players now in the NFL are Hall of Famers? And I'm going to present this to you as we speak. Calvin Johnson, if he retired today, does he go into the Hall of Fame?
I think so. Look, I mean, I think Kelvin is a generational type talent receiver. He's the best receiver in the game. He's been that for a few years. I mean, maybe his numbers aren't quite up to par yet with some of the other Hall of Fame receivers, and we've seen a lot of them go in here in recent years. But I think Kelvin Johnson, because of what he's done on the field, because of the talent that he has, because of how he's forces defenses to cover him, I think he's a Hall of Fame player. You know, you said today maybe he needs another year or two just to make sure it happens with longevity, but I think he's in.
It's year 8. What do you think, John?
I would, as much as I love watching the guy play, I would say no, because he hasn't won anything. And I think we've seen the logjam in the Hall of Fame just for receivers to get in. It takes something more than the numbers and the yards to get in, and it takes winning, and he hasn't won. And it's not been his fault, but he hasn't won.
Definitely hasn't won yet. But, you know, I don't know how much you can hold that against a receiver, but I'm with you. I mean, you're right. If he won, it'd be an easy call.
You know, it's a logjam now at receiver, but realistically,
by the time he's bounced, but you know what?
Talking 8 years. Got Randy Moss, who's going to be in the picture, some other receivers.
C.O., Andre Johnson. Yeah, there'll be some others down the line, too.
Next topic, talking about winning, a guy who knows how to win. Steve Yzerman, voted by fans on an ESPN.com poll as the face of the Red Wings franchise. Did the fans make the right choice, John?
No, and there's a picture of Gordie Howe on the wall over there. Mr. Hockey, that sort of says it all to me. I mean, Mr. Hockey is the face of that franchise no matter what happens. You know, the 4 Stanley Cups, 6-time MVP. He did it all. He set the stage for Hockeytown long before Steve Yzerman came around.
Yeah, you know what? I did a little bit of show research ahead of time. Not much, but a little bit. And you're right. Leads the Red Wings franchise all time in points and goals and just about every other category. I think Yzerman's a hair ahead of him in assists. But look, Mr. Hockey, how can you not call him the face of the franchise? Maybe it's not quite as clear cut as we're making it out to be, because Yzerman had a really good career too, and he did so much for the team, and they won a whole lot with him there. But I think at the end of the day, if you're picking one guy to represent the Detroit Red Wings, it's got to be Gordie Howe.
A little bit generational.
Yeah,
I think
it is.
People who are voting,
I'm guessing a lot of Gordie Howe's contemporaries aren't on ESPN.com voting, but yeah, he's Mr. Hockey for a reason.
It's rare that I refuse to show an injury, but I refuse to show the Paul George injury from the other night. That's right up there with Joe Theismann and Napoleon McCallum and Tim Frumry and Kevin Ware. I mean, it was brutal, but it brings to light the question of whether or not they're going down the right road. I can guess which direction you're going to go with this answer, but what does USA Basketball do now that one of the best players in the game is likely going to miss his regular season because of representing his country?
Oh, that's tough. I mean, if you're an NBA player, do you want to risk yourself to this in future seasons? I think the simple thing, the one thing that USA Basketball needs to do, or FIBA needs to do, is push those stanchions back. That's been talked about a lot. You know, it's 3 feet 11 inches, I think, was the depth behind the baseline for Paul George's injury. So they need to push that back a whole lot more to give those players. These guys are, I mean, look, 6'6" is the average, you know, height now. These guys are so long and big and athletic. They need more room on that baseline. But if I'm an NBA player, I give Kevin Love credit for pulling out. You can't risk your contract like that.
Yeah, no, and so the players don't have to risk their contract because there's a guaranteed contract. Obviously, he's risking his career with a knee injury. But the owners and the guys who are paying these guys those contracts have to risk everything, because the Indiana Pacers are sitting there now with a season that went from NBA Finals contenders to maybe, you know, lottery picks without Paul George. That's the issue, and that's been the issue for a while, and the owners have talked about it. Mark Cuban's talked about it. I think we're going to see a bit more of a groundswell when it comes to, hey, do we really need to be doing this?
That Central Division is going to be tough, but it got just a smidge easier with Paul George out of the lineup. You were there yesterday. What a scene at Michigan Stadium, 109,000 fans. If soccer was ever to succeed here at the Major League Soccer level, what would it take for soccer to be a hit in Metro Detroit?
So we saw the big scene yesterday, and I took my kids, and we had a big group of fans. It was great. The kids had a blast. The grown-ups had a blast, and it was a cool scene. I think everybody who was there would agree with that. It still has to start from the ground up, though, and so you need a stadium downtown, I think. Duggan has talked about it, Mike and Dan, building it, moving the Michigan Bucks, whatever it is, downtown, and you get that MLS team maybe somewhere down the line. You build from the ground up now, because you've seen what the spectacle can be on the big stage, but you need something to build it from.
There's a great international presence here in this metro region, and I think it would get support.
There is. See, I just don't know how much bigger it can get here. I mean, I think the entertainment dollars and the sports dollars and the attention has already spread pretty thin with 4 professional teams and the Lions, the Tigers, the Pistons, and Red Wings. I think there's a market for soccer, and I think there is a market for soccer here. I just don't know how big it will get at the end of the day. I think you're right. You know, they do need an arena. They do need something like that. I'm not sure if it could go downtown. We talked before the show. Maybe it could go out by the Palace if we could get Tom Gore or somebody like that to invest in another, you know, sports complex out that way.
Our most important topic to address in this segment, I've taken some vacation because I need to be here for the rest of the year.
Roll that film.
Apparently, Mr. Birkett felt compelled to take my parking space. I worked long and hard for this parking space, David. It took a long time to get my name in paint on cement. It's never happened until 2 years ago, and I finally got it, and you took the liberty to go ahead and put your name there. We'll start with you, Mr. Neal. Was this an appropriate move?
No, but it's impressive. He knows how to spell his name. That's why I was really waiting for the typo there. You know, he has editors for a reason. But no, I think that was complete. I think that's graffiti, is it not?
Oh, wow.
At the very least.
Graffiti.
Yeah.
I can't believe these guys are treating me like that. I mean, I think I was here in July. I was here more than you in July?
Yeah.
Pretty darn close if it wasn't. I mean, I just needed a place to park. These old legs, now in my old age, I'm not sure that I could do it anymore. So I thank you very much for doing that. I saw you took that spot back today, though.
I did.
You made me walk a little bit further.
And
I'm not happy about that.
We know who Mother Nature's. We know whose side Mother Nature is on because that chalk was washed away this week in some of the storms. They say, Tom's back.
Well, let's see what happens after the show. I got some spray paint in the car. I got my buddies out there taking care of it for me.
Now he's talking spray paint.
Now he'll get his daughter out
Stencils.
here with the chalk, sidewalk chalk every day after
Hey, Mike Foss did give me that chalk for my daughter. That was her birthday, so a little extra birthday present for her.
Birkett. He got it right.
That's right.
That's our Fast 5 Minutes brought to you by Parts Galore. We're just rolling right along here on the 7 Sports Cave. On the other side of the break, we're going to be joined by the Tigers pitcher, Rick Porcello. Great effort last night, 13-5 to start the year. Does he go to the bullpen? We'll ask him that and much more when we come back.